This is the first in a series of videos where I'll show you how to use Adobe Illustrator to make a decorated tree. By the end of this video, you should have a tree that looks something like this one. To get started, go to File, New, and you should have this new document window that appears. However, some of the computers in the lab, you will have a new document window that looks like this. It's the same information, it just looks different. So if this is the case on your computer, go ahead and click Art and Illustration and then follow the same steps that I use to fill in this information on the side. I'm going to call this Decorated Tree and put my name on it. So for the profile, I'm going to choose Art and Illustration, and for the size, I'm going to choose 960 by 560 and click OK. Now I have a nice blank document. Next, go to File, Place, and navigate to the folder where I have saved a template called Tree Template. Click it, select Template, and then click Place. This puts the tree in the background and locks it and fades it a little bit. We're going to trace this with the pen tool. Here's the pen tool. Click it to select it. We want no fill, so I'm going to click the None. And it's okay for the stroke to be black. That's what we want. We'll eventually change that later. So now I'm simply going to click on top of each one of these little squares, and I'm doing it really fast, and you don't have to be precise. Everyone's tree is going to be a little bit different, and the tree is going to be very altered by the time we're finished with it. So this template is simply to save everyone time, and you can make variations if you want your tree to look different. Be my guest. You can make the branches wider or shorter or more pokey. It's up to you. Almost finished. And when I get here towards the top, just make sure that your beginning point and your end point touch each other, and the way that you know that you've done that is that there will be a tiny little circle next to the icon of the pen tool, as you can see here on my screen. So I'll click. Now I have a complete shape created. First thing that I'm going to do is put a colored gradient on this by opening up the gradient panel over here on the side. I'm actually going to tear that off and close this. And if I click this, I can see that it's black and white, and I actually want my tree to fade from light green to dark green. So I'm going to open swatches right here. By the way, if you can't see these panels on the side, you can always go to Window, and all of the panels are located here. So if I say open the gradient panel and you can't find it, go to Window and get gradient from this list, and it will open for you. Okay, so I'm on swatches. I'm going to use that a lot too, so I'm going to tear it off. And with this menu right here, I'm going to open Swatch Library, go to Nature, and choose Foliage. And so I have a bunch of nice greens. So let's see, I'll use this light green right here, click it and drop it on top of the white. And I'll choose this really dark green and drop it on top of the black. So now I'm going to select the tree with the selection tool. Click this. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. So I'm not supposed to apply it to the stroke, I'm supposed to apply it to the fill. So let me click the fill. Now I can select this and it fills the tree. And while I'm at it, I'm going to select the stroke and change it to none. So I have no line around the outside, and my gradient is from light green to dark green. And you can see you can change how far the green covers, the dark green covers the tree by moving these sliders around. All right, I think that looks good, so I'm going to stop right there. Next thing I'm going to do is make this tree look really fluffy by going to Effect, Distort and Transform, Roughen. In the Roughen box, I'm going to click Preview so that I can see what my changes do. I'm going to leave the size at 5, but change the detail to 100. Make sure that corner is selected, and then click Preview again. And that looks great. I'll click OK. All right, now I can see the template in the background, and that's distracting me. So I'm going to go over here to Layers and open that up and turn off the eyeball. Again, if you can't see layers on the side, click over here under Windows and you can open it from that list. All right, I'm going to click off of that by clicking over here on the side so it's not selected anymore. Now I'm going to make a branch with the pen tool again. So I don't want it to be a gradient. I'll go ahead and choose this dark green right here and get the pen tool, and I'm just going to draw out a rough shape that we will turn into a branch eventually. Something like this. So a little funky, that's all right. It will do. So with the selection tool, select it, go to Effect, and the filter that we applied to, or the effect that we applied to the tree is right up here at the top, Apply Roughen. So you can just click that again and it will do the same effect to this branch here. Make it a little bit more narrow. I'm going to hold down Alt, click and drag to make a copy, and click and drag to make another copy. This middle one here I'm going to make medium green, and this bottom one I'm going to make light green. Then each one of these I'm going to make them skinnier but leave the length the same. Then I'm going to stack them on top of each other to make these look three-dimensional, like they have some light and dark areas and some value in them. Make this one a little bit skinnier. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use the selection tool to draw a line around all three of those. Then over here, I'm going to open my brushes panel, which I don't see, so I'm going to get it from Window, Brushes, all right, oh, there it is, okay, Brushes, and I'll go ahead and put that with my gradients here. So I'm going to take my branch, click it, hold it, and drag it onto the Brushes panel. And I'm going to make a new art brush. Click OK. I will name it Branch. And for the colorization, I'll use tints and shades, and everything else I'm going to leave the same. And click OK. Now this guy over here, I can go ahead and click Delete on the keyboard because I don't need it anymore. I have my branch right here. All right, now we're going to draw some branches on top of this tree here. So I'm going to actually switch this so that the fill color is, it doesn't matter what color it is, but the fill should have just any random color. Go ahead and get the pen tool, and I'm going to lock the Christmas tree so I don't accidentally keep selecting it. So over here in the Layers panel, I'm going to click in this empty box right here, and you'll see a padlock sign. So, New Layer, and on this new layer, which you get by clicking this New Layer button down here next to this teeny tiny little trash can, I'm going to click and drag down, let go, move over here, click and drag up, move over here somewhere, click and drag down, and then hit enter on the keyboard. So that's my line. Now I'm going to click to apply this brush to it. And there's my branch. Now in the appearance panel, which is right here, it's a dot with dashes around it. I'm going to open that up. Take the opacity and make the opacity a little bit less. Somewhere between 50, 60, something like that. All right, so far it looks good. Now I'm going to draw another one. Maybe I'll start here, click and drag up, click and drag down. I'll put one over here, click and drag up, and hit enter. Get my brush, set my opacity. Okay, looks good. And I will keep going and clicking and dragging these branches on here. Enter. And keep fluffing up my tree. Should have made this one a little bit longer, so I'm going to get the white arrow and click that point and just drag it a little longer there. There we go. And appearance, make it a little bit less. All right, so now I'm just going to really quickly and kind of sloppy maybe just to hurry up and make my branches so I can show you the next steps. Enter. Enter. Click and drag, hit enter, click my brush, click and drag, hit enter, enter, enter. All right, now I'm going to use the direct selection tool, and I'm going to just fuss with these and kind of move them around so I don't have a bunch of gaps and blank areas. So I'll just kind of stretch them out and rework them until it's covered. And some of them I didn't change the opacity, so I'll work on that. So this part will could take you a while to make all of these changes. So you might spend 5 minutes or so messing around with the branches to get them just the way you want them. Okay, so, whoopsies, there we go, wrong one. Oh, and one other thing that you can do, I'm going to get the selection tool here. This one, at the bottom of the tree, I think the branches could be wider and they can get smaller as they go towards the top. So if I select this bottom branch here, I can try making the stroke size 1.5 and then hit enter, and it makes that kind of thicker branches towards the bottom of the tree. So 0.5. Let's make this guy right here thicker. 1.5. There we go. And then the ones at the top of the tree can stay thinner. I think that's probably close to the way it happens in nature. Alright, that's looking better. Kind of fluffed up. Good. Alright, so that's it for this video. There will be future videos that will show you other ways that you can decorate the tree. That's it for now.